started. Before we adjourn in, I just wanted to go over the rules of speaking. Here we are. Sure. All right, to ensure the maximum opportunity for all attendees to, why is my computer freezing? Attendees to be heard, the following guidelines will apply. Those joining the meeting are reminded to mute their microphone. Anyone wishing to speak is asked to type their question in the chat box or raise their hand using the raise hand function in the online meeting platform, which is indicated by a hand, or unmute yourself at the appropriate time as indicated by the chair. If accessing the meeting using your phone and you have a comment, indicate this by pressing the symbol *9. This will show the moderator that the person calling from that number wishes to speak. To unmute your phone, please press *6. Please wait until recognized by the chair to begin. All comments, concerns, or questions shall be 2 minutes or less. To help all attendees have the opportunity to hear presentations and comments, please place your device on mute until you would like to speak. When you are recognized, unmute yourself and make your comments. Note the board may take action on any agenda item as required by the State Sunshine Law, HRS 92. Specific issues not noted on this agenda cannot be voted on unless added to the agenda. A 2/3 vote, 6 of this 11-member board is needed to add an item to the agenda. Items may not be added if they are of major importance and will affect a significant number of people. With that, I will call this meeting to order. It's now 6:32. We will begin with our city monthly reports. Honolulu Fire Department. Please proceed, gentlemen. We have a new podium with a mic there, please.
Good evening, firefighter recruit Hickson, Honolulu Fire Station, second watch. The statistics provided below represent confirmed number of incidents in the neighborhood board's geographical area for the previous month. For more detail on the incidents and related mapping information, please visit the fire response map on our HFD website at fire.honolulu.gov under the News and Info tab. Should you have questions, please email the Honolulu Fire Department's Public Affairs and Media Liaison at hfdnhb@honolulu.gov. Information from previous meeting, or information requested at previous meetings. The first question was, of the 2 mountain rescues, so this would be in February, I believe, of the 2 mountain rescues reported, how many mountain rescues were on illegal trails? The answer to that is the rescue at Sacred Falls was on an illegal trail, and the other rescue, which is at Pu'u Manamana, was on, in fact, a legal trail. The second question was, of the reported fires, what were the addresses of these fires? The brush or wildland fire was near 53408 Kamehameha Highway, which is near Ching's store. Incidents, so now we're moving on. Incident statistics for March of 2025. First up is fires. So there's 1 structure fire. There was 1 wildland or brush fire. There was 1 nuisance fire. There was no cooking fires. And there were 2 activated alarms, but no fire. Second is going to be emergencies. There was 43 medical emergencies. There was no motor vehicles, collisions with pedestrians. There were 8 motor vehicle crashes or collisions. There were 3 mountain rescues. There was 1 ocean rescue, and there were no hazardous material incidents. Now we have the April fire safety tip or announcement. For April 2025, the fire safety tip is going to focus on evacuation planning. That's going to be ensure you have an emergency preparedness plan in place for situations like environmental emergencies, fires, or natural disasters. Familiarize yourself with at least 2 escape routes from your home and plan an evacuation path if you must leave your neighborhood due to an emergency. For more information, please visit fire.honolulu.gov. Uh, leave early to avoid getting trapped by fire, smoke, or traffic delays. Set up a predetermined meeting spot, like a trusted neighbor or relative's home, a low risk area, a shelter, or an evacuation center. Bring your emergency supply kit with essential items for your family or your pets. Thank you.
All right. You questions from board members?
Oh, sorry. This is Lorraine. I have a question. You talked about 43 medical emergencies, and you mentioned that none involved vehicles and pedestrians. Was that correct? But, and I know that was for March, but there was one in Punaluu where a child was crossing and ran into a vehicle. And I just wondered, is that not counted in this?
Hi, Lorraine. I'm Captain Wolf with the Haula Fire Station, and I can go ahead and try and answer that for you. We'll get a accurate answer for that, but I believe that cutoff might be where Kaava responds to, and I'm not really sure why that wasn't included in that. But I can have a detailed answer for that. But I do know which incident you're responding to. I mean, referring.
Okay, other questions from board members? Okay, we'll go to members of the public here in person. Any questions? Matt, please come. You can use that microphone right there if you'd like.
Aloha, Evelyn Lane. I'm wondering what you could do to help my community prepare for having an evacuation plan, especially for fires. I live at the Kahuku Senior Housing, and we're in a fire trap over there. Plus, we need guidance to help us locate all the roads and things to get out where we would work to, find our pathway and identify hazards and things to help us with our emergency preparedness plan. Would your office be helpful in that area?
Yeah, we can assist you with that. And what we'll do is, can you share what community in
Kahuku town.
Oh, the entire town
Right,
you're
but
talking about?
I live in the senior housing
Okay.
by the golf course. But in order for us to be prepared, we have to have the whole town help us because we're in a fire trap and we're not able to get around. So we need
Okay.
to really plan something, and I hope we can work together with you all.
Okay, yeah, since Kahuku, their district over there, we represent them anyway. We're here for olauloa, but we'll confer with them as well as their media liaison and have a more detailed answer for you next month if you're able to attend, and you can have more information then.
Right. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All right, any other questions from members of the public here in person? All right, if not, we'll go online. Casey Connors, I see your hand up. Please proceed. You have 2 minutes.
Are you able to help us figure out how many of these rescues, both mountain and ocean, are local versus tourist versus military or visiting college students? We think that would help you and us to be able to stop them and or lessen them, or also there's a consideration of fines, as you know.
Yeah, in regards to those incidents, any mountain and ocean rescue, we do have in our reporting an area where we notate whether they are visitors or residents. And so we do have that information. If Casey, you would like that information for a certain period of time, or specifically for last month's or this upcoming month's, the statistics we reported, we can get that information for you. If you'd like that for next month, we can find out of those ocean and mountain rescues. I forget what the exact numbers were. We can find out how many were residents or visitors.
And what do you count military as, and what do you count the visiting students?
We don't have a designation for military or visiting students. We would consider them, if they have a local residence, and then they'd be called a resident.
Mahalo.
Okay, thank you, Casey. Any other questions from members of the public here online? Okay, thank you very much, gentlemen. Look forward to seeing you next month. Okay, moving on to our agenda, HPD. I believe, do we have someone online for HPD?
Yes, good evening. This is Officer Jared Atkins with the District 4 Community Policing Team. I have HPD stats for the month of March 2025. Motor vehicle thefts, there was 1 versus 0 the previous month. There were 0 burglaries versus 2 the previous month. There were 3 thefts versus 7 the previous month. There were no car break-ins versus 5 the previous month, and 0 robberies versus 0 the previous month. That's all I have for the stats. I can take any questions or concerns.
Questions from board members? Okay, questions from members of the public here in person? Please go ahead.
This is in regards to houseless person sleeping by the bridge, and it's a junkyard. I mean, it's really bad. And under the bridge is all the ukana. I mean, it's a dump yard, and when the water overflows, all that rubbish is going to go down into the ocean and on the beach. And I was wondering if there's any way you can go over there and, well, because when you litter, you get fined. But he sleeps with all the junk, with all the soda cans, bottles, and all the food stuff all around him. And you'll see him as you walk from going towards right across from the park, at the end of the park by the bridge.
You're talking about Ha'ula?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, we've been, we're gonna be making checks in that area, and we're gonna get a SPO schedule, which is a stored property ordinance operation where we go out, offer outreach, and then clean up the area. So we are planning on doing that in the very near future.
Do you have any other questions from members of the public here in person? Okay, we're going to members of the public online. Casey Connors, I see here. Oh, sorry, we have one more here in person. We'll go here.
I was wondering, what can we do about vacation rental campers parking in our community and spending the night there? They're rentals. They're just, glamping in Kahuku. So if we could get some help with that.
Yeah, when that occurs, you just have to call 911 non-emergency and report it, and an officer will come out and take appropriate enforcement action if anything is being violated.
Thank you. Any other questions from members of the public here in person? Okay, going online. Casey Connors, I see your hand up. Please proceed.
Yes, thank you. Two things. First off, I was just told by an activist who was protesting against the development at Turtle Bay that the police came and told her to move her tent and her signs. Can you tell us when you're allowed to stay by the side of the road, or what the rules are? And then she said her things were vandalized. So I was concerned about that. And the second thing is that recently it's been widespread that there's a new study out that says 40% of the people in prison are homeless or have been homeless. And that's huge. And so we didn't know what percentage of the calls that you get, are you able to say? Is it over a third or 40% of the people that you respond to? Are they currently homeless? Is that who we're putting in jail? I mean, you won't know, but who do you respond to? I mean, are you able to say about how large a percent? Because for their study seems pretty thorough, and they say 40% of the people in jail were homeless. So those are two
Yes.
different things, but thank you.
Yeah, so as far as the protester, I'm not sure about the circumstances on that one, where they were located or whatever. The only thing I can think of where they were asked to move is if they were blocking the easement next to the road, because you have to, you can't block an easement like with a tent or something. That's the only thing I can really think of, but I'm gonna have to talk to them and see what happened there. And then as far as the homeless amount of calls, I would guesstimate, I'm not 100% accurate on this, but I would say maybe about half the calls come in are for homeless. people, and a lot of those calls are where people think the homeless are committing crimes, and I'd say a lot of times they aren't. They're just, in the area and people don't like them in the area. However, they're not breaking any laws. So we just go there, make sure they're not in violation of anything. If they're not, we tend to just leave them as they are. So yeah, I did see that study. So I guess that study is accurate about the prison population, but yeah, our calls, we do get a lot of calls for homeless individuals for sure. Um, but we don't target homeless people for arrest. We just, whoever's breaking the law, that's who we arrest. And if it happens to be a homeless person, that's, we don't discriminate against who we're arresting. If they're breaking the law, they're getting arrested.
So it sounds like the public is calling the police instead of calling an outreach social worker, and we do not have enough policemen like you in our area and all over Hawaii. Is
Yes,
that would be correct then?
that sounds accurate. Yes.
Mahalo.
Yeah. You're welcome.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions from members of the public online? Okay, in person? All right, thank you very much, Officer Naga. We'll see you next month.
Sorry, I have a question.
Oh, okay, please proceed.
My question is, what is the process with your outreach? I heard you explaining that you folks have an outreach protocol that you do with the houseless.
Yeah, so there's several different things we can do. The first thing that we do is we offer them what's called Honu. We have a partnership with various social agencies, and we run. It's basically an immediate shelter that they can go to. They can be picked up right there within 2 hours and taken to a shelter that we operate 24/7. Police are there 24/7. They get their own tent. They get their own, they have access to showers, clean clothes, food. Social workers come there, offer various services throughout the week. So that's immediate. That's if someone wants to go right now, we can make that happen right then and there. Also, as part of the community policing team, what we do is we go out, we get community complaints. We go out and to these complaints, find these homeless people. We talk with them. We find out their situation. If they're willing to go to services, we tell them we have contact with social workers. We can bring the social workers out to them to talk with them, see if they want any types of services. And yeah, that's what we offer. So we can definitely help that way. If you send in the complaints, either 911 or through our website, we can try and help them if they're willing to take help. Many times they're not willing to, but every now and then we actually do get to help some people. And
Is there a point of-
pets are allowed at our Honu place too, so that really helps out a lot too.
Is there a point of contact locally within the police department that we can? So we do help houseless individuals in the community. We
Mhm.
usually get put on a waiting list for Honu or for any other houseless shelter, even the Kauhale in Kaneohe. So we're wondering, would you folks be able to help us? You said that they can get placed within 2 hours. Is there somebody that we can call?
Yeah, absolutely. You can email me directly. You can call 911 and an officer can come meet that person, whoever it is, right then and there. You just call 911 non-emergency, say, hey, I'm interested in going to Honu, and an officer will come meet with you and make that happen. So our Honu does fill up from time to time, but there's always people being transitioned out. So there's it's usually you can get in there if you're not getting in there right away, you can get in there within a few days for sure. Yeah, and
Awesome.
HPD gets first dibs to get someone in there. So when we make the call and ask for someone to get placed, we get first pick.
That's great. Could you put your email in the chat, please?
Yep, absolutely.
Mahalo.
Yep.
Okay, thank you. We have a question from the public in person, please.
Evelyn Lane. Asking about if you could explain the 988 number and if you could talk about the crisis teams that can come out when you have like a mental health situation.
Sorry, I'm not familiar with the 998 program or number. I'm not familiar with
988,
it.
it's a national uh, emergency line for crises that are
Oh, is that the suicide crisis line? Is that the one you're
similar.
talking about?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so they'll call us if they want us to go check on someone. Um, you can always call 911 if you know anyone's having some kind of crisis like that. We've been training a lot of officers in those kinds of situations. So yeah, they'll come out and try to respond and help that person out.
Perfect. Thank you. Any other questions from members of the public here in person? Online? All right. Thank you, Officer Atkins. We'll see you next month.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you. You too. United States Army. We have a representative from the United States Army here online. I know we did receive some emails from them. I believe Anson put that into the drive. Okay, thank you. We'll proceed then on the agenda to Mayor Rick Blangiardi's representative. Kat, I believe you are online. Please proceed.
Hello, I am here. Good evening, everybody. All right, I'm going to start with highlights from Mayor's newsletter, and then I have 2 updates from DEM related to tsunamis. They're quite lengthy. Do you want me to read them, or shall I drop the responses in the chat, Pane? What's your preference? It would go far over 3 minutes, so I
How
defer
long
to
is it?
you.
I mean,
Probably 6 to 8 minutes.
board members, are you fine with that? Okay. I don't see any objections, so please proceed.
All right, let's do it. Okay, I'll give 6 updates from the mayor's newsletter. First, Mayor Blangiardi's town hall meetings across Oahu are returning for a 3rd year in a row. Second, as Blaisdell, sorry, I have my baby. The Blaisdell Center Concert Hall reopens after back of house renovations. DPR begins an annual push to hire staff for the city's summer fun program. The city commemorates the Hokulea's 50th anniversary at Kualoa Regional Park. The Honolulu Charter, but you can't touch that. The Charter Commission members are sworn in for a review of the city charter, and there's a briefing on how residents can download H&L Alert, the city's new alert system for natural disasters and emergency situations. The April 2025 edition of the mayor's newsletter can be found online, and I will drop the link in the chat. Okay, the question to DEM was about how high could a close-in tsunami be? She claims that the acting director says there isn't good data on the Kamehameha Highway's carrying capacity. Does DEM have any evacuation statistics? Okay, so the first question, how high could a close-in tsunami be? I'm not sure if I'm answering the question correctly, but believe this is referring to a local tsunami, which means a tsunami that was generated by a source located within the state of Hawaii. The most likely source of a local tsunami is an earthquake or landslide on the Big Island. The exact height of the tsunami wave will vary based on a number of factors. The most important one is the magnitude of the earthquake or landslide that generated the tsunami. Local features of the coastline can also impact the height of the tsunami run-up. The standard tsunami evacuation zone map shows all areas that would be at risk from a local tsunami and would need to evacuate. Any tsunami run-up over a meter, 3.2 feet, is dangerous. A tsunami warning would be issued by the Pacific Tsunami Warning System for any local or distant tsunami where they believe the run-up would be over this height, which is 1 meter. And in those cases, the city will tell the public to evacuate from the red areas shown on the tsunami evacuation map, and I'll drop a link to the chat. The evacuation area would not change for waves of different heights. As long as it's 1 meter or more, this is the area people need to leave to stay safe, even if it's a local tsunami. Because the exact wave height can vary at different locations, even within a relatively close area, the best thing to do is to be familiar with all tsunami evacuation zones and to leave when instructed to do so by emergency officials. A tsunami warning always means a dangerous tsunami wave may have been generated. The second question, does DEM have any evacuation statistics? So there's a table that I'm going to have to drop into the chat, and it shows the number of people that reside in each of the 2 tsunami evacuation areas. The standard tsunami evacuation zone would be used for any local tsunami and almost all distant tsunami. The extreme tsunami evacuation zone would only be used in the event of an earthquake in the Aleutian Islands with a magnitude of 9 or greater. The extreme evacuation zone would not be used for any local tsunami. The numbers below just provide an estimate of the population that would need to evacuate based on the resident population. Visitors staying in coastal areas are not included in these totals, and it's understood that based on the time of day, some areas will have visitors at beaches and other tourist sites, or workers who live outside the area but commute in. In a local tsunami event, the instruction of the public is to immediately move out of all red areas of the tsunami evacuation map if they feel the ground shaking and observe strange ocean behavior. There will not be enough time for first responders to direct traffic or for city buses to support evacuation. The instruction to everyone will be to leave the standard evacuation zones shown in red on the map immediately, as the estimated wave arrival time is only 30 minutes. But
Okay, Kat, was that all of it? Okay, take a break, no problem, no problem.
hi everyone, I'm logged on my own phone. Can you hear me? Oh no, now I'm on both. Oh jeez.
Kat, would you like us to come back to you?
I'm logging in. Sorry, I don't know how I. Okay. I'm back. Sorry. Okay, almost done with reading it. Sorry, you guys.
No worries, take your time.
Okay. All right. The instruction is for everyone to leave the zone shown in red on the map immediately, as the estimated wave arrival time is only 30 minutes. Because there's a very limited warning time with a local tsunami, this may be the first warning people get. Anyone who lives or works in an evacuation area should identify where they'll go if told to evacuate for both local and distant tsunamis as part of their personal readiness. For local tsunami in particular, where there's a very short window of time and there will likely be a lot of traffic, residents are encouraged to determine if walking to a point outside the evacuation area is feasible for them. A study a few years ago demonstrated that most places in Oahu, sometimes walking at a very slow pace could be out of the evacuation zone within 15 minutes or less. So there's a big table, and I'm gonna have to figure out how. I don't know if I can drop it in the chat. If not, Connie, I'll email it to you so that everyone can see the population, the evacuation zone, and other statistics. That's my update. Sorry again.
No problem, it's all good, thank you very much. Questions from board members? Okay, questions, oh, sorry.
Kat, on the new Honolulu alert system, anybody can get that? It's at www.8.honolulu.gov. Or is that where it is?
So I'm going to be dropping a link to the chat, which includes the mayor's newsletter, and there's specific information on how to download HNL Alert. I think you can text the number, you can download the app, and you can log on online. So I'll leave all of that in the chat for you.
So if you go to your app store, you can buy Honolulu Alert. It's there.
It's through a third-party vendor, so I think you're going to have to look at the instructions.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry.
Also had a question. This is Rebecca Carlson. I am interested to know, we know that sea levels are rising. How soon will these maps, these evacuation maps need to be redrawn to account for that?
I'll ask that and I'll get back to you next month.
Thank you so much.
Okay, questions from other board members here in person? Okay, we'll go to members of the public here in person. Any questions for Kat from Mayor's office? Sure, okay. Use that microphone right there. You have 2 minutes.
Oh, yes, my name is Ernie Foster. I asked you a question last month about the judgment that was made by Judge Okobo back in 2010, if you folks had looked into it, and knowing that he had declared the fact that there was supposed to be environmental statement being presented at each type of development that was going on at Turtle Bay. And it's very much classified clearly in that document by Judge Okobo. And I was wondering if you folks had looked into that particular judgment that was made back in 2010 by Judge Okobo.
So there were a lot of responses regarding the Turtle Bay Resort development, including, I think there was a response on that. So let me pull my notes from last month and I'll drop it into the chat again.
Okay, thank you. All right, okay, we'll go to, we have one more member of the public in person. Please proceed.
Hi, Evelyn Lane. Interested in finding out if you all have any knowledge about a marketplace that is trying to get developed in Kahuku called Ohana Marketplace. It's behind the sugar mill, about 7 or 8 undeveloped acres in the floodplain, I believe. And I was wondering if anybody could share any information about that, even our board members. Thank you.
I'm not personally familiar with it, so I'll defer to the board members if they have any awareness. I can also ask DPP what the status of permits are, if any, on that. It's called Ohana Marketplace. Is that what you said?
Yeah. Ohana Marketplace. I also have one follow-up question on Turtle Bay. I'm interested to find out if there's going to be any more public information about what's happening there. And also, we had asked that, this is sort of a point of order, we'd asked that Department of Planning and Permitting come and address our community back in August or September last year. And it hasn't been carried over with our old business. And I'd really like to have that meeting.
I guess I'll answer that question. I have not received a response yet from DPP, and until I do receive a response that they're coming, I don't want to put that on the agenda. Any other questions from members of the public here in person? Online, Kikanas, your hand is up. Please proceed.
Thank you. 2 questions. Any more statistics on how many and if any vacation rentals have been shut down in our area, because they're still booming? And we were very, very concerned, a lot of us, about how many fines have been assessed, but have they actually been collected? For our area or for all of Oahu, are they actually collecting those fines? And how many fines have been assessed? And again, thank you. Such a cute baby. And but in your response, I know that you got the response directly from the other department, but they didn't say how high a close-in tsunami could be. And I think that's very important for people to understand, to see how dangerous it could be. And also, I don't understand. There are so many illegal vacation rentals in our area. Why aren't all these people counted? And is there a reason that they're choosing not to count them? Or I mean, how are the emergency evacuation people going to know? I mean, we don't even know how many from week to week are in the vacation rentals. It seems a little odd. I don't know if they have a response for that. And the vacation rentals usually don't have kits. They have no idea where to go, things like that. So I don't know how their outreach could be done since they're illegal.
I'll pass on those comments to DEM and then
And
regarding the
questions,
short-term
how can they
rentals
do
to
that?
DPP.
Mahalo, mahalo.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions from members of the public here online? All right, thank you very much, Kat. We look forward to seeing you next month.
Apologies again. I'll drop a bunch of information in the chat. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Moving forward, Councilmember Wire or staffer here online. I don't see just Oh,
Hear me okay?
oh, there she is. Okay, go right ahead, Chelsea.
Awesome, thanks. Sorry, I was looking for my buttons here. Okay, let me go ahead and highlight some things from council members' newsletter. We wanted to highlight the Young Entrepreneurs Program. So there's young innovators from Kahuku High and Intermediate through the Hawaii Agricultural Foundation Young Entrepreneurs Program. It's basically where a bunch of students will create and sell small batch products that are usually locally sourced ingredients, and all of the profits do benefit their schools. Unfortunately, their online marketplace has already came and went in the month of March, but there is an opportunity for an in-person market at KCC Farmers Market. I know a little bit far, but if you'd like to support the Kahuku High Intermediate students that are doing this program, the in-person market is going to happen again at KCC April 12th from 7:30 to 11 a.m. Let's see here. We wanted to highlight as well the Kahuku Ambulance Facility renovation. So right now, the Honolulu Emergency Services Department has proposed funding in its capital improvement program for fiscal year 26 for budget renovations to the Kahuku Ambulance Facility. So these improvements will expand the facility from 900 square feet to over 3,000 square feet, which will increase the capacity of services on the North Shore. And so council member, our office will provide updates on the timeline of these renovations as they progress. I'm going to highlight a couple of bills that are moving along here. One of them that actually was passed and signed by mayor was the wheelies bill. If anyone has paid attention to the news, we know that e-bikes is sort of a big concern in the community. A lot of children and young people are being injured by that. So this is a bill that would establish a clear standard for HPD to identify and cite individuals that are performing wheelies on public roadways. It's not limited to just e-bikes, mopeds, motorcycles, and that was signed into law by mayor a few days ago, or almost a week now, on April 4th. Another one that we wanted to just highlight here is the Bill 18, which allows the city to lead by example and reduce plastic waste by restricting the sale of single-use plastic bottles in vending machines, specifically in city facilities. And so this protects our environment, it reduces costs on our taxpayers. Bill 18 was reported out for passage on third reading during the Housing, Sustainability, Economy, and Health Committee, with some amendments to exempt participants like the blind vendors program, who sometimes will have vending machines on city facilities. So just highlighting that, and we expect to see this on the full council agenda on April 16th. Okay, those are the highlights from the newsletter. I wanted to just share some questions. So I think last time someone had asked, should Bill 15 be passed? That's the cesspool bill. How would the city deal with communications to the public to let them know how to apply? So the current status on that right now, it's waiting to be scheduled in the budget committee. I understand we're waiting to receive some amendments on that measure. So it's a little bit hard to say what the city would do in the future should that bill be passed, but I'll definitely follow up and provide some more details as the bill progresses. We just want to put one foot in front of the other here. Another question was asked, how long is an EIS valid for, an environmental impact statement valid for? So the EIS, they don't necessarily have a deadline. There's no expiration date on the EIS. However, DPP could potentially ask for an updated one or a revised one should the project scope change significantly or if conditions change. And we are asking for a little bit more time, and I will also maybe defer to some responses that might be dropped into the chat. We also received that similar question of the 2010 Supreme Court ruling, and so we just wanted to have the opportunity to follow up with DPP, or perhaps defer to Kat on some responses that maybe have been answered in the past. So that's my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions from board members here in person? Okay, questions from members of the public here in person? Catherine, go right ahead.
Hi, Chelsea, it's Evelyn. When you said that an EIS can be requested by the EPA, Hawaii EPA. Which part of the Hawaii EPA would do that? When I spoke to them, they told me that the part that would do that is pretty much not even working because they don't have anybody in the positions to be able to even have meetings and make that kind of decision. So doesn't also part of the EIS require that the information not be stale and that any environmental information should be updated whenever there's a new project according to the law?
Thank you. I apologize if I had said EPA. I don't think I said or meant to say that. I was just referring to what is sort of provided from DPP. And I'm also going to drop the resource into the chat from what I'm referencing. So it so I was just sharing that with the EIS, there's no specific deadline, but there sometimes will be sometimes it will be asked for an updated one if projects of the original application change significantly.
Okay, thank you. That's basically what I wanted.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions from members of the public here in person? Okay, we'll go online. Sunny Uga, I see your hand up. We'll go with you first, and then we'll go to Casey Connors. Sunny, please proceed. Are you there? Okay, we'll go to Casey Connors and come back. So please proceed, Casey.
Um, uh, Thank you so much. I didn't know if you could also follow up on the question on illegal vacation rentals. How many have been actually shut down? And are you actually collecting the fines? And are you collecting the taxes? I'm very concerned about that. And because they're still booming and we are still having so many local families that can't afford housing and can't afford to rent here because of that. And secondly, is there anything that Matt Wire is doing to help us with Turtle Bay? Thank you for the sponsoring help with film and TV jobs, but the number one hotel for filming is Turtle Bay. And when they're developing those sides, that's where places like right where the luxury condos were was where Hunger Games was filmed, and where they want to put the new hotel was where they built a mock up of Pirates of the Caribbean. So is there any kind of zoning that will save these areas and save these good jobs that our youth want in front and behind the camera, that will save these jobs and these scenic places that have been used for decades for film, TV, and advertisements? Are we just going to destroy those and destroy all those good jobs?
Thank you. And I appreciate the question. So our office continues to monitor all of the concerns, the requests for follow-up, if there's any, suggestions of illegal construction or development that's happening or unpermitted work that's happening. We field all of those concerns, and it allows us to have the opportunity to follow up with DPP. So that's something that our office continues to do. Just to answer the first part of the question. And for the second half, in regards to job creation or saving what your concerns are, I'll have to follow up. I appreciate that.
Mahalo.
Okay, thank you. Going on to Sunny Unga. Sunny, go right ahead.
Hi, thank you very much. This is Sunny Unga. I wanted to ask if we can get information on the turbine blades that are being replaced with the original 12 turbines. As far as we have been seeing, there's been about 3, I believe, that the blade has been completely taken off and been replaced. And this has been noticed since February. I know some of the concerns related to recent conversations with the bill that's recently passed into law, that they cannot replace the blades more than 7% of their height. So we wanted information as to how long the blade how long is of the blade is being replaced, and how many are they replacing, and what are they doing with the blades that are being replaced, if they are being replaced. So yeah, if you can get us some information, that would be great. We've been yeah, curious about that for a couple of months now.
Thank you, Sunny. I appreciate your patience and the follow-up. I know we've been working on some of these responses since February. I did email you on the 1st of April, and I did let you know we got some information. We understand the repairs that are being done with the turbines. They are changing out components like the gearbox. And so what that entails is using a crane, lowering to lower down the rotor, which includes the blades. So the entire blade assembly is basically lowered to the ground. So they wanted us to reiterate that blades are not being replaced. It's other work that's being done. And I think what they had shared with us is that the work is being wrapped up maybe within the next week or so. I did provide those details in email to you.
Oh, okay. So the blades aren't being replaced. They're just taking them off to make the component replacement and then putting the same blades back on.
That's
Can
right.
you follow up and ask if they have any future plans to replace the blades?
Okay, yeah. I will definitely make note of that. Thanks.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Ben Villafor, I see your hand up. Did you have a question? You can thumbs up or thumbs down for a question. Cannot hear you, sorry.
No, sorry, I'm late to the meeting. I was just gonna report the stats.
Oh, for
Yeah, I didn't have a question. I was just saying that I was available to provide the stats to
Oh,
you.
okay, got it.
Yeah, no, sorry, no question regarding.
Oh, okay, thank
topic
you.
guys are-
We did have someone from HPD Atkins.
Oh, okay, good, thank you.
Yeah, so you're all good. You're off the hook.
Okay, thank you guys. Aloha.
Aloha. Okay, any other questions from members of the public here online? Or Chelsea from Matt Wyer's office? In person? Okay, come back to in person.
Hi, Chelsea, it's Evelyn. Last week, you told me that the reason that DDP believes that they can move forward on this is because the owner has a vested interest. But I think that that's a term that every owner has, as a vested interest. And that's not a reason to forfeit an environmental impact statement because a owner has a vested interest.
Okay, thank you
Hi,
for this.
Thank you. Yeah, I just wanted to clarify that in regards to that, we had a long conversation about the timeline of permits that were granted, um, litigation that had occurred, and the processes afterwards. And so the reason, from what our understanding is from council member's office, and how Turtle Bay is able to move forward and proceed with some of the plans that they had, is just because I think in what was shared previously is that, you know, with the litigation and the settlements that had occurred, ultimately there was agreement that came to the conclusion of, okay, this is the set of facts that we're going to be working with, and moving forward, this is the scope that you're going to be able to operate under. And so as we fast forward to now, that's just what our current understanding of what had happened in the past was. And, just coming to an understanding of, okay, how we got there and how we got here today, excuse me. So just wanted to provide some clarity there.
Could you follow up with DPP and ask them if they feel that anybody who wants to build a resort, just because they had an SMA permit, which now has no EIS attached to it because the first one was deemed invalid by the Supreme Court, and the second one was set aside and put on the EPA list as approved, but there is no finding of There is not a FOSI finding, which would be a designation of no significant impact. So at this time, Turtle Bay is going bare with no finding of insignificant impact. And they don't have a guide. And so their SMA should be invalidated because they don't have a active environmental impact statement. And the idea that this group of people can just go forward in our community without following our administrative laws, our due process laws, what makes them any better than what's happening to us at the national level?
Okay, thank you very much. Any other questions from members of the public here in person? Online? All right, here, thank you, Chelsea. We look forward to seeing you next month.
Thank you.
Okay, do we have House Representative Congresswoman Jill Tokuda or staffer? I will say I did have an opportunity to meet with Congresswoman Tokuda on Monday. She sends her love and aloha. It is a very crazy time in Washington, but she's still fighting for the projects and the things that we have asked her to do. So she did ask me to relay that since I had a chance to meet with her on Monday. But it looks like she does not have a staffer here online, so we will move forward to Governor's Representative, Director of Communications and Engagement, Office of Wellness and Resilience, Erica Yamauchi. Thank you for being here.
Fancy today. Hi, everyone. Good to see you. Yeah, Erica Yamauchi, Office of Wellness and Resilience. I did bring hard copies of the newsletter. They're in the back there. I'll also drop links to Governor's newsletter and then our Office of Wellness and Resilience newsletter in the chat. I wanted to spend most of my time responding to the two major questions that I got last month. One was for the Department of Land and Natural Resources regarding the Turtle Bay EIS, and the other for Department of Transportation regarding the Kai Papa'au Bridge. So the first about Turtle Bay EIS, I'll drop his contact info in the chat for Ban Matsushige, who is a project development specialist with the Land Division at DLNR. He responded to this question saying that he, and along with a representative from the Division of Forestry and Wildlife, conduct annual monitoring of the conservation easement area where the state is the easement holder. The query regarding the environmental impact study for the portion of the land that is not part of the easement. And then he has some maps that I can try to drop in the chat too, show the conservation easement area and proposed redevelopment area that sit outside of the easement. Annual site monitoring was conducted in early December 2024, focused on the improvement work. There were no findings at that time of work that negatively impacted the easement portions of the property, and it appeared that efforts were being made to minimize impact to native plants and species affecting the shoreline and easement parcel. He said he's happy to answer questions from the community or the board by email or phone. So his phone number, I'll drop this in the chat as well, 808-587-0409. Email ban, B-A-N .h, as in house, .matsushige@hawaii.gov. From DOT on the Kai Papa'au Bridge. I'll drop this link in the chat too, but they did release, and I hope you all were notified, but DOT says that they did notify motorists that vehicular traffic would be shifted. Did you see that last week around April 2nd? Work was expected to be completed in one day. Hopefully, no, seeing shaking heads. And he said, but if it was not, that the bridge would return to partial operation, which I guess you saw. He said that substantial completion of this project now is scheduled for completion in January 2026, weather permitting. This is extended from the previously stated completion date of November 2025 due to unanticipated utility delays, subcontractor and design changes, and unpredictable stream conditions complicating construction and extending the duration of work. DOT did say that they would like to come to the May meeting. If you'd like them to, and if you'd like them to, I can confirm and help coordinate with Pane for the agenda. I think that concludes my report. I'll take questions, Mahal.
Thank you. Questions from board members? Questions from member, oh, all right, go ahead.
Oh, I just think I can do this without a mic. It's a nightmare, Kaipapau Bridge. And, you know, for me, I drive back and forth between Punaluu, Laie, and Kahuku, sometimes 2 and 3 times a day. And sometimes our delay, since they opened it, is I have to leave like an hour and a half early to pick up my mo'opuna at Laie because I don't know if I can get there in time. And so it's really been more of an inconvenience since they opened it than it was using the bypass. At least that's been my finding. And they have these ginormous manhole covers that sit above the asphalt. And so they created a speed bump over them, and then it dips down. I mean, it's really bad on your shocks. I would not give it a good grade. I'm really sorry, but I wouldn't give it a good grade.
Thank you for that comment. I'll take that back. And so I would like to confirm if you'd like TOD to come at the next meeting.
Yes.
Okay, I'll make that happen.
Okay, any other questions, comments? Oh,
When they come to the next meeting, are they going to be open to hearing other things beyond the Hau'ula Bridge?
I think they asked if you do have other specific questions or concerns. I can take them now so that they're prepared.
I think just as a warning, maybe the speed humps might be an issue.
Yeah. Yeah, I did see somebody from DOT was on. I don't know if they.
yeah, she's presenting.
Oh, that's right. She's presenting, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we'll field questions for Erica. Questions from members here in the public. Can you pass the mic right there?
I don't, thank you. I think the bridge is open. I just came from there a while ago. And it's, you know, they're not that bypass, like it's straight open. Been like that for a few days already.
They've been contraflowing at different times during the day, and there's not a warning about what days they're going to be contraflowing because they're trying to fix the pukas and that. And so during the day, at night, you're right, in the evening after, I think they finish 3:30 when they've been working, but they have had a lot of repairs.
Yeah, I think it does say in this update, between 8:30 and 3 p.m. intermittently for up to 5 minutes at a time.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions from members of the public here in person? Okay, going to online, Willa Bendiola, I see your hand up, and then after Willa, we'll go to Casey Connors.
Yeah, hello. Just wanted to get clarification. In your report, you were saying that the work, can you clarify some of the work or most of the work on the bridge is completed now, and then the next part of it or the completion of it will be next year in January? Is that correct?
So it does say that, like we were saying, the traffic has been shifted from the temporary bridge to the new bridge structure, and that's what this shift is. But it does say that the construction of the new bridge and then relocation of all the water and electrical routes and all that kind of stuff will not be finished until January.
So the current contraflow and the work that they're doing now is what exactly, and how long is that expected to last?
It does say motors will be contraflowed through the Malka lanes of the bridge as crews work to complete the Mackay side of the new bridge structure and remove the temporary bridge. This work will not require lane closures. However, the remaining work may require future closures, which will be announced as scheduled.
Okay, and then we don't know the length of time that that work's gonna, I mean, they're saying that they're working on it and there could be times that it will be contraflow, but we also don't know, there's not really an indication of how long that's gonna take.
I don't have that specific information, so I'm hoping that they can answer that next month.
Okay, sorry, just the last part of that is the follow-up. So is there any plans to actually fix the actual road? Like as Auntie Lorraine mentioned, right, there's the the covers, and then but the roads are horrible. Like like you're driving to get to the bridge, and then after the bridge on either side, the road pretty bad, in bad shape. So I guess my question is, what are the plans to fix the road so that it's a little bit easier to cross the bridge? It's worse now than it was before.
I'll make note of that so that they're prepared to answer that next month.
Hi, Okay. I just want to ask one thing, and maybe this is something else they can answer. It is such a long time that line of cars sits there. I'm wondering, what about an ambulance? Are you just stopping all emergency vehicles? There seems to need to be some sort of plan for accommodating those emergency vehicles, because somebody's going to die because of this. And it's really long periods of time that people are sitting there, over 5, sometimes up to 10 minutes, I think. So
it's a good question.
I think we should have a plan for that.
Okay, thank you. Mel, I believe you're online and your hand is up. Would you like to chime in from as you're from DOT?
Okay, thank you so much for your questions. So I'm noting your question. We'll get back to you, a lot of question answer next month. As far as the Kaipapa Bridge, I know there's bomb over there, and we are doing some temporary measure, like putting some tapers to smooth it out, the bumps caused by the manhole on Monday. And yesterday, we also installed some lines and chevrons on the grounds to warn driver about the bumps. But these bumps will remain in place until the final paving, which is right now expected to be in September this year. And I will find out more construction timeline and schedule and link closure for you next month. And please let me know if you have other questions, put it in the chat box and make sure that I will get back to you.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We were online, so we'll go to the online. Casey, I see your hand up. Please proceed with your question. Casey, okay, hands down, so we'll move on. Any other questions from members of the public online?
Can
Oh, go ahead, Casey.
Sorry, I apologize. Can you ask why HTA and DBED are not doing standard economic planning and getting standard statistics? Like, it would be normal to have a carrying capacity study. It will be normal to look at the salaries for each industry. For instance, Florida State University did a study saying that Hawaii has a tourism industry is one of the lowest paying, and Hawaii's is terribly low paying salaries. So is there a reason, or can you ask HTA and DBET to do those studies? And number 2, is there any plan for higher income jobs for our rural community so local families can stay here? And number 3, for local families to stay here, what are you doing to stop the illegal vacation rentals? They are not paying their taxes. These are big companies, Airbnb, VRBO, Booking.com, and you can look online, and they only book for 10 days, 10 days, 10 days. So that's against the law. So will you stop those, go after the big companies and who are making plenty money and stop them? That's state taxes we're missing. Thank you so much. We want local families to afford to stay here and to be in homes here. Thank you. Mahalo.
Thank you, Casey. I don't think I've specifically asked those questions to HTA or DBED, so I can get answers from them on that.
Thank you.
Mahalo. Sorry, I have people screaming behind me.
Thank you. Any other questions from members of the public online? In person? Oh, sorry.
I just want to comment, mahalo, Erica, for coming and being here like a physical body for us. Even though you don't have the questions, just being able to hear, the answers, being able to hear our questions and bringing them back and the answer. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. It's very kind. Happy to.
Okay, thank you. With that, we'll be moving on. Thank you so much. Okay, moving on. Senator Awal, I believe Makana is online. Makana, please proceed. Makana?
Hello, Mike Kako.
Okay, go right ahead.
All right. Couple updates. SB 1582, a bill to recognize the coconut tree as a food source, is one step away from the governor's office and becoming law. This will not only allow more opportunities for funding and initiatives to fight against CRB, but another thing to note is the current practice of treating the coconut trees with chemicals, which we don't support. We hope that this designation would allow for proper restrictions and protocols moving forward, especially with the NIU and the coconut. As many of you know, the coaching situation at Kahuku, for the community members who are concerned on these matters, Senator is currently working on getting Coach Carvalho reinstated, or trying his best to. The firing has unveiled a flaw in the DOE's process, we believe, which a single complex area superintendent is judge and jury. Also grateful to have the Hero and Corey Nago representing EM Hawaii tonight to share more on effective microbes, as we will be collaborating with them on future district and community projects. They're here tonight to share more of the benefits of effective microbes being a possible option for cesspool and water quality or water quality situations. We'll keep you folks informed on the opportunities as we kind of build that structure moving forward. Mahalo, that's it. And I'm open for questions.
Thank you. Questions from board members? Okay, questions from members of the public here in person? Okay, Catherine?
It's Evelyn Lane. I want to thank you from last month when I called your office and you were willing to help me regarding Turtle Bay. And I'm wondering if you all were able to get any information based on the lawsuit from the Supreme Court. And I wanted to make a comment to thank you for putting in, trying to put in a resolution or a bill or whatever form it was to try to get these raises stopped for our congressional, our delegation in downtown Honolulu for our state congressional, our state legislatures. So I appreciated that. I'm sorry that nobody else took it up.
Mahalo.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions from members of the public here in person? Okay, we'll go online. Casey, I see your hand up. Please proceed.
Yeah, mahalo for all your work for helping ag. Just if you could keep in mind, we have HRI and their parent company owning thousands and thousands of acres of ag land, and I didn't know if Senator would have time to talk to them, because we have some Hawaiians who would love to farm that land. So it's great that he was getting all the ag land back, but there's also thousands and thousands of acres owned by Americans that we would love to have some farmed. And in addition, could he also look into helping us with the ag program at Kahuku? I think it needs a little more stabilization, because right now at WCC we don't have any Kahuku students studying ag or aquaponics, and we would love to get that pipeline going. He started so much, and afterwards, when he has more time, we would love him to be aware and look into that pipeline. And secondly, thank you for supporting film and TV in front and behind the camera. We have so many talented people here, from musicians to actors and to EATSE, and they're good paying jobs. So thank you to the Senator for supporting more good film and TV jobs. Those pay enough to stay here. Mahalo.
Mahalo, Casey.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions from members of the public online? Here in person? All right, thank you, Makana. We look forward to seeing you next month.
Aloha.
Aloha. Okay, and moving on, State House of Representative Sean Quinlan, I believe we have one of his
Hello.
staffers. Please proceed. Hi.
Hi, I'm Morgan from Representative Quinlan's office. Thank you for having me tonight. I just have a few things for you all. So starting off, in the most recent Senate version of the budget, the CIP request for Kahuku Medical Center that would renovate their electrical system, plumbing, and sprinkler system has been removed. So Representative Quinlan is working with his colleagues to have it added back to the budget. As we all know, Kahuku Medical Center is the nearest hospital that serves the community, and it's really important to him that their facilities are up to standards. Next, Representative Quinlan's bill, HB 235, that would establish a pilot program under the Department of Transportation to install speed cameras along the North Shore, has actually drastically changed in the Senate. So Representative Quinlan would still like the community's input on whether they would prefer speed cameras or speed humps. So please feel free to continue the discourse here or email him directly at repquinlan@capitol.hawaii.gov. You can also call our office with that feedback. And then the Department of Agriculture informed our office that they are in the process of treating all of the coconut trees at Maleakahana State Park with an injected pesticide to protect against the coconut rhinoceros beetle. So please do not consume any of the coconuts from the park, as they are no longer edible. And actually, thank you to Senator Alwa's and his office for reaching out to the department on that. Open to questions. Thank you.
Questions from board members? Okay, questions from members of the public here in person? Right ahead.
Hi, Evelyn Lane. I'm wondering if your office has been able to do anything regarding Turtle Bay, and could you give us some updates, because we're not getting anything back as far as trying to help the community.
And you're talking about in regards to the development, is that right? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. I don't have any specific updates, but I can get back to you. You can also call our office during business hours, and other people in my office might have a better answer.
Okay, any other questions from members of the public here in person? Okay, going to online is Casey Connors. Your hand is up. Please proceed.
Yes, thank you. And do you know if Arate, the developer of Turtle Bay, has gotten the vertical permits yet? Because many people were very confused when they had told Rep. Quinlan they had paused development for a while, and if they had not gotten the permits, then wouldn't that be the reason that they had paused building vertically? So if there's a reason, if you could clarify that, that would be very helpful. Also wanted to thank Rep. Quinlan for, he knows how many people up this side work in film and TV, and the ranch, sorry, Olauloa Ranch has so many has in the past had so many film and TV productions there, and Kahana, of course, Turtle Bay. So thank you for that, and thank you for the aquifer and for protecting the aquifer to the landfill. Is there any bills that we should be testifying on for those? That would be very helpful to know.
Yeah, thank you so much. So all the bills are going to conference right now, so there's no further opportunity for input from the public, but it's up to the representatives and the senators to kind of hash out the agreements and the disagreements on the bills. So no more input at this time, but thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions from members of the public online? Okay, hearing and seeing none. Thank you so much. We look forward to seeing you. Oh, sorry, go right ahead. We have one in person.
It's Evelyn again. I know that the senator sponsored a measure for Kapuna to be able to have a better relationship with emergency management for getting us more prepared. And I wanted to thank the senator for that. And could you tell me if the measure was passed out of the body today?
I actually don't. If you
Tomorrow,
have
I
the
think it's
measure-
tomorrow. Never mind. Yeah, tomorrow.
Thank you.
Any other questions from members of the public here in person? Online? Okay, we'll see you next month. Thank you very much.
Mahalo.
Okay, now on to board business. So filling of vacancies. So Alfred Lee, who's representative from Laie, has resigned from the board. He has received church calling where he will be a mission president in Canada. And so he is now preparing for that and will be heading out to Canada, I believe it's Alberta, Canada, in the next month or so. So with that, Anthony, you want to go over this? Put in a board vacancy.
Oh, so just if the person's in sub-district 2 comes in, asks for a volunteer, if they want to volunteer, they could do so. And so when that occurs, you'll just explain why they want to be part of the board. And then just one of the board members currently here could just do one voice vote, technically a motion. No one needs to second it, and then you guys do a voice call of the person's name. That's it.
Okay, procedure. Is there anyone here in person or online that would like to sit in the position of Sub-District 2 for Laie for the term of 2 months? Technically one. Okay, if not, we will move it on to next month's agenda. Okay, with that, we will continue on to letter of support for Oceanside conversion to affordable housing. The presenter was Lorraine, but I will read the letter that she had submitted. As most of you already know, that the board has taken an action on this project in support from last month's meeting. So this will be a letter that will be sent out to all state and county agencies. It is a draft of what the Punaluu Community Association, it's their letter, and we will be voting to adopt it as our own. With that, what that means is that we will make it in from the board, olauloa Neighborhood Board, as opposed to Punaluu, but I'd like to read it to the public. If there's any feedback from the public, then we can also have that. So in the matter of a motion to change the wording in the Punaluu Board Agreement from assisted living to affordable housing. To gain a better understanding of the facility's current condition and future plans for Oceanside Assisted Living Facility, members of the Hano Hano Enterprise, owner of the land, and their consultant, Mark Hashem, provided only a 13-page PowerPoint presentation titled Oceanside Conversion to Affordable Housing, and a copy of the Punaluu Board and Care Agreement dated October 30th, 1995, to the Punaluu Community Association for their discussion. The Oceanside Conversion to Affordable Housing presentation provided history of the land ownership, highlights of the subordination, termination clause, one tentative change to the site, and photos of the facility when it was operating as an assisted living facility. Since various healthcare operators were not successful in operating an assisted living facility, Hano Hano Enterprise is requesting to revise the Honolulu Board and Care Agreement, Section 5D, by removing the requirement to operate the project only as an assisted living facility for the elderly and persons with Alzheimer's disease, to operate the project only as an affordable housing facility. Motion was made on January 22, 2025, and the results were 10 support, 1 opposed, 1 abstained from vote. We would change that vote section to the neighborhood board's vote, which I believe was unanimous. And so the Puno Community Association hereby presents a letter of support to change the wording in the Honolulu Board Agreement from assisted living to affordable housing to the Olauloa Neighborhood Board. So that will be changed to us. But that is the gist of the letter. Is there any comments or questions from members of the public? Okay, let me go online. Any comments or questions from?
At one time at Honolulu, Hano Hano Holly, they had a lot of trouble. And the trouble was the people bought the condo, they were claiming, they wanted to claim the land. I don't know if any of you heard about it, and this was a few years ago. They came on TV, the Hano Hano family, showing that they own the property. You just bought a condo. But that went on for a few years. Now they're starting something else again. What's going to happen? Is the same thing going to happen again with all the trouble? Hopefully not. But, I don't know if anybody here.
We're not talking about the Hano Hano condos. We're talking about the land where they had the assisted living, remember ponds?
No, I know you're not talking about the condos, but I'm just saying they had trouble. Hano Hano was involved. They had trouble about the condo. They want the land also with the condo. Now we're talking about, like you just said, what are they going to do? Who's going to handle it?
It's already.
Are they going to have the same kind of trouble?
No, the Hano.
We don't know yet.
Well, no, the Hano Hanos are part of this and they will retain the land. All that they're doing, the affordable housing project will be for the land, for the buildings only. It's not, it's very clear in the contract. So there shouldn't be the same confusion.
Yeah, but again, this is in the making. We don't know what they're going to do. I wish for the best. Okay, number one. But because of the trouble they had before, and Hano Hano was involved because they own the property, they own quite a bit in that area. Now, if this is going to start again, they want to develop, are they going to, hopefully they don't have the same problem, but they're talking about affordable homes and all that, right?
Very
Housing.
quickly, no, we're not talking about affordable homes. They're talking about redoing the actual assisted living center, and they won't be selling them. These will be rental units. They will be affordable housing apartments. So they aren't selling them. It's not a development with a bunch of affordable houses. We're talking about them remodeling the assisted living so that they can have a certain number of families, and they would probably have to add some parking spaces, but it's not about buying or a big development.
No, I wish them well, but I just hope the Hano Hano involved, they don't get the same problem.
Appreciate it. Thank
That's
you
all
for
I'm
your
saying.
comments. Appreciate it. Okay, next.
Aloha, Ben Schaefer. I just wanted to congratulate the Hano Hanos for stepping forward in creating homes that we need, affordable homes that we need. I'm glad that the Honolulu Community Association, which is one of the few that meet monthly, are involved, and because they've always been involved in community things. So it's a win-win for both of them, Hano Hanos and the community. Mahalo.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments from members of the public here in person or online? All right, members. Do I?
There's just some technical substantive changes, like the periods in there's a period there after the quotation and then the revised, should say revised, just technical.
Anson, this is for you. And me, we'll work on it. Okay. All right. Members, do I have a motion to approve this letter and with amendments? We have a motion. Second. Perfect. Is there any reservations? Any opposition? Okay, hearing saying none, chair votes aye and the motion is passed. Oh, and Sunny, I believe you're Sunny online? And Atalina?
Yes, I support.
Okay, thank you. Atalina?
I just want to say I'm a professional copy editor, so if you want me to revise that letter for you, just send it my way.
Oh, thank you. Atalina? Okay. Okay, thank you. Okay, moving on in our agenda. Thank you, board members. Okay, now moving on to the stop that presentation portion. So the SMA presentation, this is in 53414 Kamehameha Highway for Hauula. Gabby was supposed to present. She called and emailed me while I was on my plane ride back from DC, say that she would not be able to attend. She's feeling ill. So we can just not hear it today, and I'll try and move it to next month, move some things around. So we'll continue on. So Gabby, EM Hawaii, Mr. Nago, if you're online, you have 8 minutes for your presentation. Something said that I believe he's online. Yes.
Yes, right on. Hello. Just confirming if you got the slides for the presentation as well.
Regeneration Hawaii with EM, effective microorganisms. Perfect. Yes.
That's correct.
Okay, please proceed.
Shoot. Is there any way that I can see the screen by any chance? Or just it's okay. I'll just let you know.
No,
I have a copy of it. So
perfect. He's sharing it right now.
perfect. Right on. Mahalo. All right.
No, this is for the call.
All right. Good to go? Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, right on. Good evening, everyone. My name is Corey Nago. I am with EM Hawaii. I'm also a volunteer member of the Genki Alawai project. Thank you for the opportunity for allowing me to come out here and just share more about microorganisms, what they are, why they're important, and how we can harness the power of these tiny creatures to help regenerate our Hawaii. So get us started with the first slide, please. Next slide. So what are microbes and why are they important, right? So microorganisms, I'm sure we're all familiar, but for those of you who aren't, right, micro is small, organisms is any living creature, right? So tiny creatures that we can't see with our eyes. However, they're everywhere. There's trillions of microorganisms everywhere. 1 teaspoon of soil has billions and billions of microbes, more than the entire population of the planet Earth. So it's these tiny things that we can't see that help to facilitate life. And without microorganisms, there would be no life, right? So as you can see on the slide, they're in the air, they're in the soil, they're in our water, and in our bodies, right? We hear about the importance of our microbiome and how that's connected with our immunity and also linked with our brain as well. So these tiny creatures, right, just because we can't see them doesn't mean that they don't exist. They are really important. They are the foundation of life. So next slide, please. So what is EM? EM stands for effective microorganisms. This was developed by Dr. Teruo Higa, who you see pictured in the slide, over 40 years ago in Okinawa, Japan. So this technology has been around for a long time and it's used all over the world. It started in Okinawa, Japan, and Dr. Higa went out to other countries where he wanted to be able to support their agriculture, being able to provide a product that is low cost but high quality, something that everyone can access, and something that's right, safe, simple, economical, and most importantly, effective. So just a quick background about Dr. Higa. He was a professor at the University of Ryukyus, which is in Okinawa, Japan. And Dr. Higa grew up in a time of the war in Okinawa. As you know, a lot of people were hungry, and he understood, what it was like to go through that. So he thought the most noble thing that he can do is to grow food, right? Going into agriculture, his family had a farming background as well. However, he knew how labor intensive agriculture was, and in order to ease the burden on the farmers, he was looking at anything that could do that. So at that time, in those early 80s days, it was all about chemicals, pesticides, fertilizers, GMOs, right? And he was actually a proponent to these new technologies, as he thought this was the way to advance our technologies to keep up with the growing human population. So unfortunately, being around in that space for so long, he actually got pesticide poisoning himself, right? So that was kind of where he had to change his thinking. That was kind of like the paradigm shift for him to explore safe, alternative, natural ways that we can not only bring the same yield and production of conventional or pesticides, chemicals, artificial fertilizers, but something that can also regenerate our soil, not just strip away the nutrients and the microorganisms. So that's how he started to dive into the world of microorganisms, studying different strains, isolating different strains from nature, making sure all of them were safe and readily available. And by chance, after 10 years of diligent research and no results, he decided to just pour out his vial that had a combination of microorganisms because it's perfectly safe. He figured it'd be a waste to just pour down the drain. So having forgot about that, he came in to the same area in a few days, and he noticed that where he poured the mixture of microbes, there was a growth of grass that was much higher than the rest of the patch. So it was kind of by chance that he realized that it's not just a single strain of microorganisms that makes a difference, but it's a combination of these microorganisms that can really help to influence the environment. So he came across three over time. He was able to distill it to three main strains of microorganisms, and these are perfectly safe everyday microorganisms that I think a lot of us are familiar with. The first is lactic acid bacteria. So this is mostly known for making pickles, making yogurts, making cheese. We've been using this bacteria for a long time. It's also a common bacteria that you'll see in probiotics, right? The second one is yeast, and this is another common fermentative bacteria. This is used for making bread, making beers, anything fermented, that's yeast. And the third is a special bacteria. It's probably the most primitive bacteria. It's called phototrophic bacteria, and basically this is bacteria that can photosynthesize just like how plants can create energy from light. Bacteria can do the same thing. So it's a combination of these three microorganisms that make up EM, and it is in a liquid form commonly, and it has many uses from agriculture to construction. Again, it was originally developed for agriculture, but as Dr. Higa continued his research, he found out that it's such a holistic product. You can use it in many other uses as well. So this is kind of the backstory and origin of EM. Next slide, please. So this process of using microorganisms to clean up our environment is called bioremediation. So if you break up the word bioremediation, bio means life, remediation means to clean up. So bioremediation is, again, just using natural organisms, in this case, microorganisms. You may hear of something like phytoremediation or mytoremediation, using plants or fungi to remediate the environment. Very similar, but for us, we're specifically using these microorganisms. And if you can kind of see in the kind of ecological food pyramid that's illustrated there, these microorganisms are the very bottom of that pyramid, right? But that's actually the foundation, right? If you don't have a solid foundation to any structure, it's not going to be stable. So what we're doing through this bioremediation process is bringing back the ecosystem from the bottom up. Instead of working from the top down, we're starting at the very bottom, the base, the foundation of life. And as you have that diversity of microorganisms return, nature will then heal and regenerate itself, right? Because we all know nature does that anyway, right? It doesn't need us. If humans were to disappear, nature will go on, do its thing. And that's through the power of these microorganisms. So we can greatly increase and accelerate the remediation of a polluted environment by putting in these microorganisms that will essentially do all the work for us. So that is bioremediation there. Next slide, please. So this just goes to show, again, how as microorganisms increase naturally, right, the ecosystem will be restored, right? As you start to have more food for the creatures higher up on the food chain, things will restore its natural order. And again, it all comes down to that microbial level, right? We're starting at the very bottom. So two ways that we apply EM locally here in Hawaii is, of course, the liquid concentrate, as I mentioned earlier. EM is so does that. It can be used in a concentrate and actually extended one generation to make more economical. So for example, this gallon that you see pictured on the screen can be extended to 20 gallons. So there's many ways how this simple technology can be cost saving and safe, not only for the user, but for the environment as well. So the second way that EM is utilized is those Genki balls that you see. You can go to the next slide, please. Maybe some of you are familiar with the Genki Alawai project, but just real briefly for those who aren't, I'm sure many of you know the Alawai Canal is probably the most infamous canal on this island, and we are using these the EM liquid and mostly the Genki ball to throw into the Alawai Canal to bring it back to eat up and digest all the sludge. These mud balls you can think of as a probiotic for the environment. They're packed with that EM, that good microbe. And the reason why we make it into a ball form is so that it can actually sink to the bottom of the canal when it's deployed, right? We do pour the liquid, however, when it drops to the bottom, it'll stay in place, it'll dissolve more slowly. And if you actually go down to the Alawai for events, you'll actually see that the fishes and wildlife will come and eat it as well, right? Because it's packed with good microbes, bottom of the food pyramid, right? So it's a probiotic for the environment and also for the living creatures there as well. And these microorganisms will help to break down any organic matter that has accumulated, right? In this case, the sludge that chokes out all of the oxygen. And it's been a blessing. What started off as a small grassroots movement, it's just been able to bring so many groups together, from our Kiki to our Kupuna. We've never seen an act like this, of people coming together, right? I think the beauty of this project is how inclusive it is. This transcends race, politics, creed, all of that. We can all come together to restore our environment, to Malamar, Aina, and our oceans as well. So, yeah. Next slide, please. So the Genki Alawai project is actually not a nonprofit entity ourselves. We fall under the Hawaii Exemplary State Foundation. And what this nonprofit goal is to address the whole watershed as a systems approach. So with the Alawai, it's just a component to a much bigger picture. What we're doing is definitely showing results. We see a lot of wildlife coming back. We've seen sludge reductions of up to 20 inches. However, it is a reactive solution, right? We want to address the sources of pollution, and that's working further upstream. So going back to that ancient knowledge of the Ahupua'a system, where we can all work together within the watershed and take care of the waters that come, because everything starts all the way from the mountains, that will end up in the oceans. If we don't have healthy forests, we're not going to have healthy oceans. And, everything in between, that urban pollution is really the majority of, what's going into, what's polluting our waters. And that's at the same time, that's something that, we have the most control of as well. So blending that ancient knowledge that, the Hawaiians had of taking care of their land and also incorporating these types of new technology and really getting the people involved, right? I think this is what it's all about, that civics, teaching the young, teaching the youth, at least planting a seed of how they can start to think about how we can regenerate our lands and, make a difference for future generations, and by the time they get older, they can see, the fruits of our efforts. And it's such an opportunity because people just gave up on the olauai, and how cool is that within our lifetime that we can change that infamous reputation. Next slide, please. So I know I'm preaching to the choir here, especially since all of you live out here in the northeast side of the island. So Hawaii has a cesspool crisis. I said that every day there's 53 million gallons of untreated sewage that's leaching into our groundwater and environment every day out of the 88,000 cesspools statewide. In Oahu alone, there's over 7,400 cesspools, which equivalents to about 4 million gallons of this effluent, this raw sewage that's dripping into our environment, right? So Genki balls are awesome. We can incorporate that in any waterway, but if we work further upstream at the source, if we could put these good microorganisms in where these sources of pollution are coming at, we can have even better results, right? And this is not just for cesspools. This could be used for even wastewater treatment, any agricultural, animal husbandry productions. These microorganisms can treat these pollutants before they get into our environment and continue to pollute our lands. So next slide, please. So problems are often disguised as opportunities, right? I think this is a time where we can just show how as a community we can come together by using EM. It's really healthy for everyone who comes across it, for it's safe for humans, safe for animals, safe for the environment. It brings people together of all ages, different backgrounds. Thanks to this, our network is huge. This is used all over the world. And, here in Hawaii especially, I think we have a great opportunity to come together and work together to help heal our environment, the healthier environment that we have, the healthier we will be as a people. And, we can start to care and, take care of each other, take eyes off ourselves and, set the next generation up in a better place than we left it. So I think I'm out of time, so we'll go over there. But if you have any questions, please feel free to let me know. For more information, please feel free to visit our website at emhawaii.com. This will give you the link to EM Research Organizing Japan as well. That will give you many case studies from all across the world, not just in the US. So mahalo for your time. Appreciate you.
Thank you. Questions from board members?
This is fascinating. Hauula is the second worst polluted community in the state, and we have so many cesspools. And so I'm really listening hard to this. And so is there in process right now a way that this particular geeky ball or the solution that you have can be used in communities in or around cesspools or in streams? Is this something provided and okayed, approved by the Department of Health and Board of Water Supply? I've got a lot of questions. Thank you.
Yeah, yes, I'm sure. I know. And I only gave a brief introduction, for the sake of just to respect everybody's time. But yes, that's a great question. In terms of the cesspools, I'm currently working with Senator Ava and Makana to plan some pilot projects going on. But to answer your question about the permitting from the Department of Health, yes, we did receive the permitting for the use of EM. That's why, despite the lack of funding from the Genki Alawai project side, I'm just going to bring that back in real quick because we needed the permit to use that into the Alawai Canal, because you cannot just pour living organism into an open waterway, even if it's beneficial. So we did receive a special permitting for that, and throughout the water quality testing that we've been doing in the Alawai Canal, over the past few years, it's shown that there's no negative impact. In fact, we've seen a lot more positivity come out of that. So we've kind of proven that there's no negative impact there. As far as the cesspool treatment, it wouldn't necessarily be Genki balls. It would be more so looking at just pouring the liquid directly down your toilets or down the drain. So you don't have to open the cesspool. This is intended to be very simple and effective. So it would look something like that rather than, putting the Genki ball inside of the cesspool or septic tank. What we can do with the Genki ball is work in conjunction with it. So, for example, using it for the streams, waterways closer to the beach. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the Blue Water Task Force by the Surfrider Foundation, but they do a fantastic job at collecting that water quality data every 2 weeks around the island. And we have a lot of data, unfortunately, for the east side and the north side of the island of high fecal bacteria. So I think that pre-data is already there, and as we start to apply our pilot tests, we hope to see the numbers, those numbers decrease dramatically through there. But I hope that answers all of your questions.
I'll just say one more thing. They don't test here, Surfrider or anybody, not even Department of Health. But
I see.
But we have our own testing program going on right now to really find out, and it's really, really high pollution.
Yeah.
And so is there a way that we could possibly have some intervention out here with working with you all?
Oh, absolutely. That's our goal, to be able to share this with much people as possible, to be able to empower the community to do something like this and get the people involved.
Okay,
I don't know if I would coordinate that with you directly, but I mean, I'm in touch with Makana and Senator Ava, so we're
Okay.
definitely in the works there. And
Okay, thank you very
hopefully we
much.
can collaborate with
Really
Vi.
appreciate it.
Oh,
Vi.
absolutely. Thank you.
We are working with Vi, and
Oh,
they're
wonderful,
actually
wonderful.
they're doing our water testing, and we have a whole big team of volunteers that work with them every month.
Oh, that's phenomenal. Yeah, just getting all those dots connected. If we can, just get the right people working together, I think that we have a great opportunity.
Thank you. Other questions from board members? Questions from members of the public here in person? Please proceed.
Aloha, Ben Schaefer. Are you getting any kind of negative responses from anyone? If not, then what's holding up the deal on this to make it work?
That's a good question, and thankfully we really haven't been getting any too much negative feedback because I'm not, there really hasn't been any reason for negative feedback. I feel like everybody will win through this. But what's holding this back right now, for the Genki Alawai side, the Hawaii Exemplary State Foundation is not funded. Also, our permit to renew and expand the use of the liquid EM in open waterways, that's currently being evaluated, going through the process with the Department of Health. We're getting that renewed because currently our permit restricts us only to 2 areas of the Alawai Canal. So, because I believe we have sufficient data to show that there is no negative impact. Hopefully, their board will review that and then allow us to expand that for all open waterways on the island. However, if you're using it for yourself, privately for your own cesspool, you don't need a permit for that. We do have we do work with someone who actually treats cesspools and pumps these cesspool septic tanks for a living. And he informed us that before it was just sulfuric acid or drilling, and that really doesn't do the job. So he goes and treats households privately as well. So if you want to use it on yourself, no permit is required. However, that permitting for us to use on a larger scale in an open waterway, that's going through the process of Department of Health right now, and then also lack of funding and organization is what's holding us back right now. Yes.
And one more question. Surfrider Oahu puts out a bulletin, I guess, monthly, and they tell us where are the most highly bacterial, locations, and one of them is
Yes.
Kahalu, and one of them is Waihole.
Yes.
And there's a red dot, but it doesn't tell me what it is. But there are others, of course. But we have some that we would love to work on and make and do it today. But when you can,
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Thank you. Any other questions from members of the public in person? Okay, we'll go online. Wheela, I see your hand up. Please proceed.
Yes, hi. Thank you for the information. If we wanted to use this privately, how do we get access to the product?
Oh, that's a great. So we do have our shop. It's located in town. It's a little bit far for the North Shore, community. I know for you folks, the closest, our shop is off Nimitz. If you go to emhawaii.com, you can see our store location. It has the Google Map locations and all of that. That's EM Hawaii LLC. We also have, if you ever go out to like the east side, Waimanalo Feed Store, they also carry the EM gallons and whatnot. And we also have an online store as well. And, we can deliver as well. So, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments from members of the public online? All right. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Nago, for your time. We sure will be individually or for your organizations reaching out to you.
Absolutely. Thank you for your attention, everyone. Appreciate you. Have a good night.
All right. Aloha. Okay, moving on in our agenda, we are to the Wahoo Pentathlon. I believe Sarah Aiko Mayo is on online. Please proceed. You have 8 minutes.
Hi, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Great. Aloha board. I do believe that I sent you a few slides for presentation that I'll ask you to pull up after explaining our event and its impact to the district. This is my personal first time presenting to this board. I believe that you guys are usually accustomed to Matt Curran, our athlete director, for the last few years, but my name is Sarah Aiko. I'm the founder and race director of the Wahoo Pentathlon. And we have made some changes to our course this year that I hope will be seen as a better fit for its impact on this district. The big picture of this event, just to recap from previous years, is that it's an ultra endurance adventure style event to circumnavigate the island by swim, run, paddle, sandbag carry, and bike, starting and ending in Kailua with a 24-hour time cap. The portion of this event that will cross the olauloa district is the latter half of the paddle, coming north from Kualoa Regional Park and then exchanging on land at Kokololeo Beach Park, which is the major change, to then move on to the first portion of the bike that then moves across to the North Shore. Previously, as I mentioned, we had our paddle to bike exchange point at Lenaloa, also known as Clissold's Beach, across from the Polynesian Cultural Center. However, I know that over the years, there's been some concerns regarding traffic and parking. And though we have responded according to the board's requests and community concerns, I know that this location was not ideal. And thank you for your grace thus far on that and flexibility. That said, this year we'd like to change that to Kokololeo Beach Park, given that there is a significant increase of space available there and for parking with the parking lot itself. And we felt that this would be in the best interest for everybody, including the ease of our water safety planning with a slightly shorter course for the athletes. We have submitted applications thus far to the to DOBOR, Department of Transportation Services, as well as City and County of Honolulu, and we'll also be submitting an additional permit to DLNR Land Division. Our numbers are expected to be fairly similar to the last couple of years, with maybe a maximum of 30 to 40 people in the park at any one time, and a total of maybe 150 to 200 over the course of the day, which is about a 6 to 7 hour window, and this will be on Saturday, August 9th. In regard to the cyclists, they do end up spreading out really far apart, just given the course of the day and having started that morning in Kailua. So there usually aren't more than maybe even 2 to 3 athletes at the most within the same span of a mile or so. We are not requesting a cone off or change the flow of traffic in any way regarding that bike portion. That's per the recommendation of Department of Transportation Services. I did just see the question. This is for August 9th of this year. And athletes are instructed to obey traffic laws at all times. If you could, I believe you have the maps, otherwise I could pull up my screen share, but if you don't mind to pull up those maps, then I can just kind of give a visual. Perfect. So this would, I guess this is kind of in a, can we go to whatever, this one would ideally be the third one. They might be kind of out of order. There should have been one more. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so this will be the paddle course. So they start at Kualoa Regional Park, come obviously northbound, and then we'll be landing at Kokololio. We have water safety teams that we work with Pacific Ocean Patrol. If you guys are familiar, they work with a lot of the major, kind of athletic type events on island. Then we can go to the next slide from there. It'll be yep, to the right. Yep. So this would be essentially what we're requesting, or this is also our submission to City and County Parks Department. But essentially, we would like to have a flag on the beach so the athletes can see that as they're coming in. A buoy, which we had also had up at Olauloa last year, so they can see that from out in the water. Have one pop-up tent. This is just for kind of like snacks, and usually athletes aren't sticking around very long. They move on pretty quickly, but just kind of have a check-in point that our volunteers make sure to check in those athletes. And then one additional flag out on the highway for visibility for people coming into park. And then we can go to that last slide, I think to your left. Yep, and then obviously a lot of this does not overlap with the neighborhood, but essentially from there, they'll be getting on their bikes to go across the North Shore. And as mentioned, they are required to follow all traffic laws, and that is very thoroughly communicated to the athletes. That would be it for the presentation pieces. Thanks for sharing that. I'd be happy to answer any questions at this time or address any concerns. I will drop my email at the end of this into the chat in case anyone would like to reach out afterwards.
Any questions from board members?
Hi, this is Lorraine. My question is, what time is it starting on Saturday, August the 9th?
Yeah, so the event itself starts at sunrise on Saturday, but that's in Kailua. Excuse me, that's in Kailua. So obviously we don't know exactly when each athlete will be coming through, but the window of time, let me just make sure I quote you right on this. The window of time that we're making a request with Parks and Recreation for that is from 9:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. Just in over the years past, that's kind of the approximate window. We really expect peak time to be between noon to 3, but obviously there are just some athletes a little bit slower and a little bit faster. And then we have a cutoff of 6 p.m. for athletes in the water. Of 5 p.m. for the athletes not be able to be in the water any longer, just for water safety reasons. So that is a hard cutoff.
Okay, and then my question is, they're biking North Shore from Pokololio to the North Shore on a Saturday at noon. It's extremely busy, and that's the end of the summer. So we still have our tourists and things, even though our public schools will be back in school. So I'm just a little concerned about the amount of traffic. With road construction at like EA for their bridge and Hauula for their, well, it'll pass Hauula. So I'm just a little concerned that on a Saturday, 200 people on bikes.
So no, there won't be 200 people on bikes. So we expect probably about 200 total athletes, but they're partitioned into teams. Only one of those people. So what they usually do is they split up the total work in one way or another, kind of, if you guys are familiar with a Ragnar style relay. So really with how that breaks up, we expect maybe about 30 to 40 what we call units. So that would be the total number of athletes actually coming through on the bikes, which is why DTS has suggested that we don't shut down the road essentially for something like that.
Thank you. That helps. Mahalo.
Other questions from board members? Okay, questions from members of the public here in person? Please come forward.
Echoing what our board member said about the traffic, I'm wondering if, considering where we're at in the climate situation, have you got an emergency preparedness plan for your activity? Thank you.
We do have, we work with Pacific Ocean Patrol on the water safety plan. They really handle all of that. So we have essentially evacuation points out of the water in case we have any issues there. And then we do have a team of first responders that we're working with this year on other, meeting points in the case of an emergency. Also, because obviously the nature of this event, it's so spread out. Our athletes are told that in the case of emergency, they are to call 911 immediately, given that we don't have the ability to just have, ambulances all over the island for something like this. So yes, we have both the communication and the plans around that.
We'll go to Ben Schaefer and then Dottie, then we'll go back.
Aloha, Ben Schaefer. I have a question. Have you folks done a dry run during that time period to see how it's like, so you folks have an idea what you folks will be facing?
Yeah, this is actually the 4th year, technically 5. I had originally done this in 2021, then it turned into a whole event. So we've done this several years and haven't run into any issues regarding the traffic. Again, just with the numbers that we have, we don't intend to turn into an Ironman style event with, thousands of athletes. It is a more intimate community and experience. Partly because of the nature of how this works, there's just not the capacity for that. We don't want to shut the whole island down, and kind of just leave a small footprint where we go. So it has worked successfully in the past.
Hi, Dottie Kelly Paddock. I'm just curious about the,
Hi.
there are so few ambulances all over the islands. Are they really planning to provide you with extra service on call in this area for this particular event?
No, so we don't have ambulances stationed exactly for that reason. Which is why we have just the communication of the athletes about following at traffic laws, about just awareness about, tourists kind of rubbernecking driving through there, the potholes, the construction, all those things, being required to wear helmets, being required to wear visibility lights if they're after sunset, making sure that they have everything that they need to fix a flat on their own, et cetera, et cetera. So a lot of it really comes down to hopefully being more on the preventative side up front. We do have volunteers that are kind of stationed along the way in case something comes up that can kind of deploy to a location. But again, it's really if an emergency happens, call 911, because there isn't this huge, emergency network necessarily.
Has everyone been briefed about the construction on the roads out here right now, as well as excessive speed humps in olauloa?
Yeah, I mean, so like in years previous, I think it was the bridge in Hauula was, think essentially almost washed
It's
out.
still
So we really
there.
were kind of playing it
Bridge
by ear
is
that
still
week.
being worked on, honey.
Okay.
Same one.
Okay, so yeah, it's something we keep an eye on as we get closer of what's the most updated information. So yeah, we will definitely make sure to communicate that, presuming that that's still an issue at the time. And then, yeah, the notorious potholes, definitely we communicate those things as well.
But
I would say about 9. Oops.
Most
Go ahead.
notorious right now are speed humps.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you've experienced them in your neighborhood, but we have over 20 in olauloa. Just giving you a heads up.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't had that be a part of the athlete package in the past, but I can definitely include that. That's helpful.
Thank you. Any other questions from members of the public here in person? Okay, we'll go to members of the public online. All right, hearing and seeing none. Thank you very much, Sarah, for your time and your presentation.
Mahalo. Thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you. Moving on in our agenda, we have committee reports. Board members, do we have any committee reports?
I do.
Right ahead.
Hi, this is Sunny Unga.
Please proceed.
Yeah, we just have a little updates from the Department of Parks and Rec. They're doing some technical studies at Kahuku District Park, and that's part of the process for the rec center and the pool. But they should be having more updates at the mayor's town hall meeting in Kahuku May 1st. And then another update or an announcement, I'll make a quick announcement. Next week, Wednesday at 6:30, we're going to be having a meeting with the DOT about the Kahuku ADA accessible pedestrian and bike path. So this will be a proposed 1 mile stretch connecting the end of Malai Kahana all the way to Pualalea Street. So please come and learn about the project and share your input. So that's 6:30 at the intermediate or at the high school intermediate cafeteria.
Okay, this is Dottie Kelly Paddock and talking about emergency preparedness. And we consider little fire ants as something that's really threatening us seriously right now. I'm especially wanting to shout out to Ha'ula. We have six streets in Ha'ula, and that Ha'ula Park Place, Kealalani Place, Kukuna Road, Homestead Road. Talking to Homestead Road. Oh, that's good. Hanomu Street and Kealalani Place. I said that twice because we have two parts of that place. But all of those streets, DLNR is coming out on April 14th and 15th. And there's a whole section of those streets that form a big a piece of land that they suspect there are little fire ants. And we've been trying to help them door to door and get your permission and get your name, just having you sign a piece of paper and say you would say it's okay for them to check. If they check and find fire ants, they will come back at another time and they will also treat them, and it's all free. So please, 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 if you haven't heard about this already and you live on one of those streets, please give us a call so we can let DLNR know that you have given permission. Call us at 808-293-5000. This is Ha'ula, the old Satellite City Hall, our Civic Center. Call that number 293-5000 and talk to us about your address and that it's okay to come in and check for fire ants. Fire ants are devastating to the environment, and they also can really hurt our pets. They get in their eyes, make them go blind. It will change our lives forever if we let these prevail here in Ha'ula and across Oahu. So please, let's all work together as one big family and try to take care of this problem. I just want to mention too that on April 29th, the city has asked to come out and do a presentation on the new fiber optics being put on the North Shore area. And that meeting is going to be April 29th here at Ha'ula Civic Center from 12 noon to about 1:30. We're providing food, so come and have some lunch and learn about this process and how your life is going to be improved by this. We also on Thursday, May 1st, are having the olauloa Town Hall meeting. That's with the mayor. You've already heard about that. But also a community talk story is going to be conducted on Tuesday. Whoops, what's the date? It's another Talanoa that will be in May, and I'm going to give you the date. And this is talking about Cam Highway and the experience we are all having in Olauloa with Cam Highway and how devastating this highway is for our people, for our safety, but also for our jobs, and as well as an emergency preparedness. So we have Dylan Apalu coming back. He's the young man that's doing the study on the road, and he's coming back to talk more with the community at large. So please come out for that. And when is that? That is May. Sorry, I had it written down here. May. Okay, May 6th. May 6th here at Hau'ula Community Center. And so please give us a call if you have any questions about the dates are coming. But everyone in Olauloa is welcome. That's the only meeting he is having here, as far as I know. And all communities are welcome to come out on May 6th. And that's from 6 to 7:30. And you're going to get food there too. So come on out and enjoy that. Just one other thing, we're having an emergency preparedness fair in Ho'olaulea on June 7th to update everybody on, this is hurricane season coming up. So please come out June 7th, the first Saturday in June, to the Ho'olaulea at the Resilience Hub site at 256 Hau'ula Homestead Road. It goes from 9 to 1 in the morning, 9 o'clock to 1 in the afternoon. Thank you.
Any other? Dr. Tusi?
Yes, though I've retired from the University of Hawaii, I'm still working with projects regarding food security and breadfruit. One of the biggest challenges isn't the trees. It's a dryer mill and flour making mill. And right now we're working with the breadfruit people and the Pacific Island Farmers Organization and Network. That's over 40,000 farmers across Micronesia, Polynesia, and Melanesia. The challenge has been flour, because if we can convert it into flour, there are many different projects we've been looking at, but they're not quite as effective as we had hoped it would be. We have been working, and the most successful so far is by Professor Jeff Wertz, retired from Kansas State University, one of the leading wheat flour making agricultural universities in the world. So he has been working on the possibilities of a mill that can also dry and produce flour from breadfruit, and he's very interested in breadfruit. So we will be meeting with him. Fortunately, events have occurred where we'll actually be meeting him in Kansas in 2 weeks. And hopefully we may have the solution, because breadfruit flour has a shelf life of over 2 years. So with all the breadfruit we have, unless we can convert it into a shelf product, we can then secure it for disaster situations. So that's hopefully things will develop in the ways that we have been working towards for almost 2 decades. But it looks promising. Just a report.
Thank you very much. Any other reports from board members? Okay, hearing and seeing none in person or online, move forward on our agenda. Community announcements. Yeah, everyone has 2 minutes. If you have, please proceed, grab a microphone. And
Hi, I'm Miriam Chang. I'm here representing the La Hui o Ko'olauloa Paddling Club in Kahana Bay. We've grown quite a bit. We've got a lot of people involved. We have a full-on race section, but we also have had recreational. We got some funds recently to rehab our canoes as well as to build a kupuna program and paddling for people with disabilities. And our ask to the community is permission to build a building of halal for our canoes, since we spent so much money rehabbing them. Plus, it'll hopefully make our canoe site prettier. I don't know if you ever drive by, you see like 10 canoes all over the place. But anyway, that's what I'm here to just make you aware and then ask for your permission. Thank you.
Actually, I think that's one of the things our community needs, more participation in the canoeing. We did it when we were young. We were all busy working now, so we can't get over there, but I support that, and I'll have the community association in Kahana do the same thing.
Thank you.
All right, any other community announcements from members of the public here in person? Please proceed. Go ahead.
I know this isn't part of our district, but I think it might be something in the future. Haleiwa at the Wailua Elementary School on April 15th from 6 to 8 is having a Oahu Mobility Hub meeting, a workshop, a community workshop #1. And I'm hoping that community workshop #2 or 3 will be down here. I don't know anything about this, but I'm interested, and maybe you all are.
Thank you. Any other announcements from members of the community here in person? Okay, we'll go to members of the community online. Is there any announcements from members of the community online? Ella did put in the chat, Tutu's Treasure Thrift Shop is having a special sale on Saturday and Sunday this weekend. This is a special half-price sale for appreciation to all of our donors. And Tutu's Treasure Thrift Shop is located right here in Aula Community Center. Okay, I don't see any other. Oh, okay, right.
This is Dottie. One thing I left out is I especially want to announce our annual CERT training. It's the Community Emergency Response Team training that will take place here in September. It's 3 days, September 13th and September 27th on a Saturday. And then the final meeting is at Diamond Head, where we do practice of those skills that we learn in September 13th and 27th. This is free. It's the Community Emergency Response Team training. It's free. You get a free lunch right here at Hauula Community Center or the old Satellite City Hall. If you want to sign up, just give us a call at 808-293-5000. Okay, thank you.
Any other announcements? Okay, hearing and seeing none. Moving to the approval of the regular minutes and members' approval of the Thursday, March 13th, 2025 meeting minutes. Is there a motion to approve? Okay, is there a second? Are there any objections, reservations? Make sure I get the online. Okay, hearing and seeing none, chair votes aye, and the minutes from the Thursday, March 13th meeting is adopted. For board announcements, the City and County of Honolulu and Hawaii Food Bank are partnering to fight against hunger. Neighborhood Assistant Anson Wu will be collecting donated canned goods at tonight's meeting and keep on going, even next meeting. Oh, okay, wow. That's a nice announcement to have. The next meeting is scheduled for Thursday, May 8th, 2025 here at the Hauula Community Center. And that's it. Members, I have a motion to adjourn. Oh, okay. Well, then we are adjourned.